Hi, as you can see, I'm back in the park again, and this will be my last video from the park for a little while because the next video will be coming from somewhere entirely different. You can probably guess where that's going to be. And today I'm going to be talking with you about the Trecena of B'atz. So, what do we know about bats? What does bats represent? Bats represents creativity. This is the time of the new creativity. This is the time of the new creation. This is the time of the beginning of your creative project. So, once again, I know that I may say this a little bit too often, but maybe I'm just excited about them all. But I find this a very exciting Trecena with a very exciting potential. The Trecena of B'atz is really the time to be getting your creative juices flowing, to be starting to think about what you're going to create next, what you're going to go into next. And of course, it's the beginning of a cycle. We'll see 20 days later, we're going to Aq'ab'al, a day of initiation, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in that as well. Now, we've just come out of, or we're just coming out of today on the day Tz'ikin, on the day 13T, as I'm recording this video, we're finishing up the Tijax Trecena. With all those changing overs, the ending of the tun, like changing of the mam, or rather, kind of like the return of the mam, the kind of like what could be seen Samhain as the like changing of the year as well, and the blood moon. There's been a lot of energetic shifting happening, so I hope that you've managed to weather the storm or embrace the principles which have happened throughout that. And so hopefully in these next couple of weeks, as we go through the Trecena of B'atz, things are going to be a little gentler, things are going to be a bit calmer, and there's going to be more space for your innovation and more space for your creativity. So let's begin with the day 1 B'atz. So B'atz, of course, creativity. The weaving of time can also be seen in this. This is about the calendar in one way or another as well. And for me, B'atz days are the days to get your paints out, get your camera out, get whatever it is that you do or however you express your creativity. This is the time to get that out. And maybe you feel that you've become a little bit staid with what you create. Maybe it's time for you to find a new way of creativity, a new way of creation, a new way of creativity. Perhaps there's something that you've always wanted to try. Perhaps it's something like an art form. Perhaps it's something like writing, or maybe you've never tried painting and you've always fancied it. 1 B'atz is a wonderful time, or wonderful day, to be picking those things up and seeing what can happen when you do. Now, the 1 representing the potential, but also representing the need for fertilizer, the need to maybe go and get other opinions. So maybe it's also a great day, if you're taking on a new form of creativity, a new form of expression, to go and speak with somebody that you know who's already, let's say, more advanced along that path than you, to get some tips, to get some ideas about how and where you start to bring that new creation in, to allow that creativity to flow. So we can see it as, well, I see it as a really, really positive day, an overwhelmingly positive day, especially if you've got any new creative projects in mind. 1 B'atz, that's the day to start them. From 1 B'atz, we then move to 2 So in our lives, we're going to have to make choices about where we go, how we do things. And being the path, being the journey, being the exploration. And here with the number 2, well, this is exactly where we're going to have to make those choices. Let's choose your path. As you move into this new creative essence, maybe there are some things that you're going to have to leave behind. Maybe there are some things that you want to walk towards. But 2 might bring it into very, sharp contrast. Are you going left or are you going right? Which way are you choosing? Now, the other essence that we can connect with the number 2 is that of love, relationships, and self-sacrifice. And so this can be very much about choosing your path based on what you love. It may involve an element of self-sacrifice. Are you sacrificing something that you love in order to embrace this new creativity? Are you sacrificing something you want to create for the sake of love? Might be either or. But 2 strongly suggests choosing a path, making a defined choice about which way you want to go, which path you want to follow. From 2 we then move into 3 An interesting day. If there was never ever a day to be, say, holed up or cocooned in your home, it's 3 because we have representing the home and the number 3, which can also represent the home. And so with home, with the 3 being kind of like introverted and wanting to kind of like stay, kind of like within, we can see that 3 is a great day to be focusing on that. Now, can also be seen very much as a nawal of harmony in the home, harmony in the family. It's by standing up for what is right. And it's kind of focusing the energy on the home. Sometimes we're putting off those things. We're delaying those things that we know that we should do. We know that they're going to bring harmony into our family or into our home. And maybe that harmony, if we're like looking to create, if we're in this Trecena of creativity, we need to start from a harmonious space. Now 3 is the day to exactly prepare for that. It's the day to exactly be paying that attention. And so if you have the opportunity to stay home and organize things, to get things prepared, to build that firm base, that firm spinal column, which is also represented by can grow from, then 3 is the day to do it. So stay home, sort out your stuff so that you can create from there. From 3 we're then going into 4 Ish. Now, very, very stable day. And with the day Ish, I'm talking about the connection with Mother Earth, and often I use the word magic, and I sometimes feel weird about using the word magic because obviously it's one of those words which has all sorts of connotations. Now, what we see is that Ish days are often very good days for working with Mother Earth. Yes, of course, asking Mother Earth for what you might need, because there is that manifestation aspect of Ish which can be attended to. But of course, it's also a day to give back to Mother Earth. And here, connected with the number 4, suggests doing that in a very practical way. So a great day for, kind of like a community clear up or whatever it is, showing Mother Earth a bit of love, looking after her. Doing something in the physical world on the ground level. This is kind of like what the 4 brings us. But it can also be that those actions, it's like we look after Mother Earth and Mother Earth looks after us. And so if we want to stabilize our connection with the sacred nature of the lands around us, then 4 Ish is a particularly good day to do that. So this could also represent physical visits to the shrines, physical visits to the altar, a great day for ceremony. From 4 Ish, we're then going into 5 Tz'ikin. So Tz'ikin representing the vision, Tz'ikin representing prosperity as well. And here with the number 5, putting our work into it, putting our energy into it. Now, of course, as we go into this new creative phase, of course, it's going to bring out kind of like new vision for us and that. But what's going to happen if we don't really pay it any attention? What's going to happen if we don't, kind of like put our effort into it? Nothing. If you have a vision, then 5 Tz'ikin is the day to put your money where your mouth is, for want of better words, to put your energy into that vision, to start paying it some attention so that it can be developed. Because, of course, Tz'ikin is a visionary. It's looking ahead to what can be. But what can be can only be brought in with energy. It needs your energy. It needs your input to it. So, kind of like when in this Trecena of creativity, yes, you might want to, become kind of like a published poet or writer, or maybe you want to become, you want to have an art show or whatever it is. Well, that might be your vision, but when's a good time to put your energy into it? Well, 5 Tz'ikin is. 5 Tz'ikin is a day when that energy will be multiplied. And it might actually even be harder work than you expect it to be, getting that vision. Kind of like the amount of energy you need to put it into. But for me, the 5 is always going to be multiplied more than we expect. Now, the 5 can also be seen as a day on, kind of like we have to be careful not to rush into things. And it's kind of like we could see that there should be a good balance, because Tz'ikin gives us a view of the future. And the number 5, if it suggests rushing into things, well, maybe we are seeing things a long way off, and maybe we do want to put our energy into what's going to happen, not in this Trecena, but maybe in the next 260 days, or maybe it's going to be kind of like longer term than that. But Tz'ikin should give us such a clear vision that 5 should actually be, suggest that if we put our work into things, it's unlikely that we will rush into things, because Tz'ikin will give us a good understanding of what's going on ahead. Now, of course, it might also be that vision is the thing that makes us leap into them as well. So just, kind of like be prepared on that day to like put on the brakes should you need to. But as I say, great day to be putting your work into your vision. From 5 Tz'ikin, we're then going into 6 Ajmak. So Ajmak, the day of forgiveness, the day of acceptance of human beings for exactly who and what they are. And here we see it with the number 6, representing ultimate stability, but also representing the family. Now, it's often that, kind of like as we go through life, sometimes kind of like, the difficult things can often happen with family rather than anyone else. It's kind of like, say, if you, bump into a stranger and something happens with the stranger, then, kind of like you can walk away from it. If it happens with a friend, well, maybe you're going to see less of that friend. If it happens with the family, well, you're blood tied with them. So it gets a bit more difficult. And so it's really important to be focusing on that forgiveness with 6 Ajmak, because, it ends up being a burden that we're carrying around if we don't let go of it. So 6 Ajmak is a wonderful time if there's any rifts within your family, if there's anything that you feel that you might need to apologize for, or if there's a dialogue that needs to happen to open the way for somebody to express themselves to you, then 6 Ajmak is a great day to do it. Looking at it from the point of view of the Trecena of creativity, those burdens, they're wasting our energy, that energy we could be putting into our creative potential, that energy we could be putting into something better. And so 6 Ajmak gives us that opportunity to clear the way, to fully stabilize what needs stabilizing, to forgive and move on, so that we can get our creativity flowing. From 6 Ajmak, we're then moving into 7 Noch. So Noch, the Nawal of thought, the Nawal of ideas, the Nawal of plans, of information, also seen as the one who is solving the problems. And here we see it with the number 7. The number 7 right on top of the pyramid. The number 7 giving us all of our choices, all of the decisions that we might be able to make from it. And so when we see 7 Noch, we can see this as something where we are finalizing our choices. We have used our information, all of the knowledge that we are holding in our minds, all of the information that we've been taught, and we're using that to find our best choices. When we're standing on top of that pyramid, we're looking out across that sea of trees and seeing the other pyramid tops. We know where are our best options, where we want to go next. But it's up to us to make the choice. And so we could certainly see that the 7 Noch could be seen as a day of making our informed choices. It's a wonderful day to engage with everything that you've been learning to guide your decision. Now, I don't always, well, for me, Noch is not so much about wisdom. That's Can. For me, Noch is about intellect. It's about intelligence. It's about all the information that's around us. And, right now we're deluged by information, right? So here we are making our choice about which information we want to use. Which one is going to guide us better towards our creativity, towards what we're looking for in life. And so I would say that 7 Noch would be a great day to, even again, take a step back or hold on for a little while. Just take a moment to look around you. Have a look at what your options are. How are you going to bring this creativity in? What ideas have you had in the past that you can bring to finality now? What solutions are you able to complete now? And, kind of like this might be also a day of pick one. You might have a lot of ideas going on, but you can't necessarily do them all at the same time. So 7 Noch is an ideal day to be picking one using your knowledge. From 7 Noch, we then move into 8 Tijax. So for me, 8 Tijax is the healing day. This is a wonderful day for healing ceremonies. The 8 being the ceremonial day. The Tijax being healing. I mean, 8 Tijax is just, got healing day written all over it, right? And this is certainly a day on which I've made lots of healing ceremonies in the past with people. So if there is something that you are looking to heal, 8 Tijax is the day to be working on that. Working on cutting away from both sides. I like to say about Tijax, surgery is not painless. And the 8 kind of enforces that. It's kind of like seeing, let's say, the positive and negative sides. Well, this is going to leave a scar, but it's going to make you better kind of thing. That's kind of like what Tijax might bring for us. But we can also see that Tijax can be very much seen as the Nawal of discernment. It is the Nawal which helps us to cut through to the truth of matters. It cuts through to the highest purpose. And so when we see that this is a day to celebrate that. But it's also the wholeness of that vision. And this is exactly what we want. In order to use that obsidian blade to its best purpose in that, we have to really understand all sides of it. We have to understand kind of what happens if I don't cut enough? What happens if I cut too much? This we get from our experience, and this is kind of like the wholeness of the understanding of how to use that blade, how to use it correctly to cut through to what really matters, to cut through to what we really want to include in this new creative period. We can see Tijax as the editor, and this 8 gives us the experience of what we could see as negative and positive editing, where things are either over-edited or not edited enough. And it helps us to understand, well, what do I want to include in my creation? How am I going to bring the best that I can possibly bring out of it by cutting away the things that I don't need to include into it? So it's a wonderful day of refining. It's a wonderful day of, again, the ceremony might be for healing, but the ceremony might also be to ask, for help, for guidance on understanding how you can refine and what to refine in your creativity. From 8 Tijax, we then move to 9 Kawok. This is going to be a very, very feminine day indeed. We see Kawok, the Nawal of the midwife, the Nawal of the storm, also the healing day. And we see it with the number 9, representing the feminine, representing life. So, 8 Tijax followed by 9 Kawok. What a powerful combination for a pair of healing days even. Where we have one where the, the whole surgery is performed, and then the second one where the healing of life occurs. So, even if you were to spend both of those days purely focusing on healing matters, it could be very, very beneficial within your path. But we also see Kawok as delivering the new into the world. And what are they delivering? Well, the number 9 suggests life. And so 9 Kawok is a wonderful day to be planning your new life. How are you going to deliver it? What's going to come in through this, Trecena of creation? Well, the birth of new life. That's a lot of the calendar is about anyway. And so, again, a very, very auspicious day for any healing work, especially healing work which might involve women. And so your female healers in your community around you may be ones who are very, very worthwhile visiting on this day. It's like everybody is empowered, but perhaps the female healers are especially empowered on that day. So if you want to get a massage or whatever it might be, that would be a wonderful day to go do it. Now, with 9 Kawok, we can also see it very much representing this bringing in of new life. And so this is what, maybe that Tijax has helped us to cut away from, to detach from, so that we can bring this whole new life into being, this new creativity in. So it'd be very much in everybody's best interests to, let's say, focus their energy on healing during those 2 days in order to bring in what needs to be, brought to life. From 9 Kawok, we're then going into 10 Ajpu. Ajpu representing the quest for spirit. Ajpu representing the divine path. Now, Ajpu also has an appreciation of the arts, of course, kind of like they're a physical representation of the divine, and so, of course, they come in like that. And so we can see that divine appreciation, almost in this Trecena of creation, taking us to a higher form of ourselves, embracing that kind of idea. Now, we see it with the number 10. The number 10 representing agreement, society, and cooperation. And so what we see this as, the 10 Ajpu, the the path to the divine through the community. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is kind of like about helping the community to find that divine path. Maybe some communities have kind of lost their way. Maybe, kind of like our society has lost its way. Now, we could also see that as a result of losing its way, and some of the, let's say, reasons why it's lost its way is division. We stop talking to each other. And the 10 is about creating agreements. And so we could see 10 Ajpu as the reintroduction of the, the understanding of each other's divine path through agreements, through creation of society. We can also see that 10 Ajpu could very much lead us to, okay, what part do I play in it? In this, kind of like divine journey within our society, what part are each of us playing in it? What part do we play in our community? How do we help our community to be a more divine place, for want of better words? And how can we be a part of our community? How can that help us to find our path to our highest aspect? These might be questions to ask, but it'll certainly be a great day to get together with your friends, with your community, and celebrate each of your divine paths. Celebrate, kind of like where we're all going together. And celebrate the hero that exists in each one of those people within your community. From 10 Ajpu, we then move to 11 Imox. Imox representing the dream, representing creativity. Imox representing the left hemisphere of the brain, the creative, dreamy side. And here connected with the number 11. Now, this might be a day where there might be all sorts of possibilities coming in, because Imox for me very much represents the possibilities that we have in life. It very much represents, kind of like it's like an egg that's waiting to be fertilized. What's it going to become? We don't know yet. Where are we going to get an idea about what it's become? Well, maybe from our dreams, but where are they coming from? Well, on the 11 day, it's coming from all over the place. We're not sure which way it's going to be going. And so, sometimes we need days like these. Days where we can kind of like allow our mind to just freely explore different areas that we might not think to look in before, different areas that we might be guided to through our dreams. And so I would say that for 11 Imox, this is a rather directionless day in a way, but the whole point is for it to be directionless. It's to allow yourself to, I was going to say grasp at different dreams, but it's almost not to grasp at them, but to hold them and observe them and just allow your attention to move from one to another. So it's definitely not a fine detail day. It's definitely not a day to be focusing on anything that kind of like takes too much precise input. It's far better spent dreaming, far better spent allowing your mind to wander and find what's there in the deepest, darkest recesses. And when I say deepest, darkest, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean things which have been hidden, things that you don't normally look at, things that your creativity can bring into being, things that is going to help you to create. Some of those things are things we don't visit too often. And so 11 Imox could be a great day to do just that. From 11 Imox, we're then moving into 12 Ik. Well, this is a day for the announcement. This is a day to make your voice heard. This is a day on which you may either receive or give advice, counsel, whatever it might be. It's use of the words. But where do those words come from? Well, the number 12 would represent all of life's experience. So this is using our words to counsel each other based on what we've been through before. So once again, I was saying about the Trecena of Kawok, the one Kawok needing some advice. Well, if you need some counsel on where to take your creativity, then 12 Ik could be exactly that. The other thing that we could see with it is that Ik can also represent changes. And as a representation of changes, it's kind of like when we go through the changes, we are, sometimes we get concerned. Which way should I be going? How should I be doing this? All of those kind of things. Well, the 12 kind of like suggests drawing on our life experience. So it's kind of like using our life experience to help us to deal with the changes coming through life. So I would suggest, kind of like if you need to seek counsel about the direction your creativity is taking, or if you've got some changes which might seem rather challenging, again, go and find somebody who's been through that. This is a great day to go and find, kind of like, well, I know that person over there. They went, kind of like they had a similar thing a few years ago. Maybe I'll go and pick their brains, because maybe that's exactly where you need to find your inspiration on 12 Ik. And finally, from 12 Ik, we go into 13 Aq'ab'al. 13 Aq'ab'al, the beginning of a very interesting phase. And of course, the end of a very interesting phase as well. So 13 Aq'ab'al, Aq'ab'al, the dawn and the dusk, the new concepts and the concepts that bridge reality that come from the world of the unseen and into the seen. And here connected with the number 13, the number of the ancestors, the number of spirit. And so this is literally the concepts which come from the spirit world, the concepts which come from the ancestors. So we can see this can be a very, very powerful day. And, if you were looking for the inspiration for your creativity, then of course 13 Aq'ab'al might be the day where you wake up with it in mind. Because it's being communicated to you by spirit, by the ancestors. On the bigger scheme of things, this is the conception day in the Mayan cross for the day Aq'ab'al B'atz. So again, this is the beginning of a very important period, the conception day of the new initiation, of the new creation. So this is a great day to be looking at what you're going to take forward again, how you're going to work with it. What new concepts are you going to bring in? Or maybe there's also something we could see with, we need that inspiration for our new creativity. And so 13 Aq'ab'al is the day, if you can, get out at sunrise. Because Aq'ab'al days, meditation at sunrise is a very, very good thing, because it's like between the worlds. Before sunrise, even better, get out in the twilight before the sun has risen. That's when you just might find that the inspiration that you're looking for this new period of creativity just pops into your head as if it's been put there by the ancestors. So thank you for listening. Hope that's been interesting to you. And I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Cat. Thank you.